Your business is not really a business if you don't have predictable lead flow that you can actually manage. Because if you're trying to manage your leads out of like your Instagram DMs or your Facebook Messenger, like good luck. How are you gonna contact somebody from like 3 months ago, right? Whereas when you have it in AR, it's all in one place.
Because for us, we're looking to do two things for a coach. I'm looking to either A, put a strategy in to help you scale, or B, keep you organized and keep your stress down so you can enjoy what it is you do, which is why you wanted to work for yourself in the first place. Welcome back to AR Podcast. My name is Mike Crowson, the CEO and co-founder. And today I have Shaun with us. Shaun has been a client of ours for quite some time, but he's really found a lot of success in the last few years in his coaching business. And I'm excited to learn more about what he's doing. And so you guys can also see that as well. But at the same time, I want to know who Shaun is and how he operates in techs. So first and foremost, man, that's what I say. Thank you for coming on. And the first question I always like to ask people is like, what got you into fitness as a whole? What got you started?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited. Okay, so what got me into fitness? I was very skinny growing up, very under muscled, and that obviously, wasn't very good at sports, and that impacted my confidence and things like that. So I never really played like team sports until I got out of high school. But during high school, I was more so into like skateboarding and stuff like that. So anyways, I got into weightlifting with a couple of my friends at school, and, we started to get stronger and get more jacked as you do. And that just had a cascade of positive effects on my life. So once high school was done, I did one of those like personality tests for school of like what I should do. And based on what I had scored on, they said, okay, you should either be a social worker or you should go into fitness and health promotion. So I was like, all right, I'm going into fitness. So I went into fitness and health. Then from there, once I graduated, I went to be personal trainer at Good Life Fitness here in Canada. And then I did a private studio for a little bit. Then I worked at Lifetime for a little bit, and COVID happened. The world shut down, as we know. And I had been kind of contemplating wanting to go off on my own for a while. We started out with another online coaching company as like my wife and I were like assistant coaches for them. And, we realized, we could probably just do this ourselves. They just had a different style than what we would want to do with our clients. They were more like very firm, strict bodybuilding, and we were more so kind of just like lifestyle coaches. Yeah. So we started off doing our own thing, and that was about 6 or 7 years ago now. And we've just been running it online since then. But yeah.
Right on. Yeah. And so does your wife work with you now as a co-coach?
Not currently. My wife has stepped more into the mom role in the last like 3 years.
I love that.
Me too. We decided that we wanted to build our family, and we kind of decided that I was just going to focus fully on growing the business and turning it more into a business versus just like solopreneur type deal. And we've just been doing that. She's been killing it as a mom. She's pregnant with our second baby right now, and our first son is like 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. And so who is your favorite type of client to work with these days?
My favorite type of client to work with is somebody who is already consistently working out. They've tried in the past. They've tried some, whether it be tracking, or they've tried to focus on their fitness in some regard. Not to say that we can't help like more beginner type people, but I do like to work with more advanced people, because I feel like for myself and our coaches, like we have a very high skill level. So to be able to implement that stuff with somebody who is going to actually make a good stab at implementing it, I like it. And also like I really like working with people who already have health and fitness as a value. So for example, like they're already working out. I don't have to convince them to work out. I don't have to convince them to want to eat healthy. They just want to go from looking pretty good to great, see a difference in their body that like really shows, and implement the stuff that we actually have to offer. For
sure. It's that I want to take good to great mentality. People that are like, it's a lot easier to work with somebody that wants it for themselves and don't have to convince them to do it, right?
Yeah.
And so that becomes a lot more fulfilling on our end. And we can get more advanced with the training and different styles. What's the number one thing that a client has taught you over the years?
I feel like my initial coaching style when I was a personal trainer was very passive, in the sense that like I let anything slide. And then as I transitioned to online coaching, I went to the complete other side of the spectrum, where I was like super aggressive, no excuses, no matter what. And like we work with like a lot of moms, and before I was a dad, I didn't really like actually understand, I would say. So, that kind of blew up in my face a little bit sometimes. And I had to find a good, genuine balance where like, I would say I lean still more on the strict side, but like there is some leeway. And for me, it's like more being holding them accountable in a way that's like genuine coaching that makes them want to do it for themselves and like implement it
Sure.
into their life. So I think just like finding that genuine balance of like what coach I wanted to be, because like my clients, they want to look great, but they're also not looking to compete. So like I think I was trying to hold that standard for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's probably the biggest thing I'd say.
And so now that you've been doing this for a few years, for the people that you do work with, right? What would be two things for your ideal person that I think are the biggest things that they just don't think about or they overlook?
I feel like the biggest thing for like the ideal client that we work with is so many of them are approaching their style of training wrong. They think like any exercise is equal when it comes to their goal, as long as, they're active. And I feel like I strongly disagree with that. I feel like if your goal is to be toned, see physical differences in your body, you should be focusing on resistance training, progressive overload, and trying to get really strong and highly skilled in the gym. So that's a big thing that often we have to overcome. Is a lot of our clients do come from like a group fitness class background, things like F45, Orange Theory. So like changing the way that they look at training, for example, like longer rest times and 4 or 5 exercises in a workout as opposed to doing circuits or HIIT training. So that's a big shift that we make with them. And then also another shift is just like getting somebody to understand the value of tracking, following like set meal plan, making sure that you're hitting a wide variety of like vitamins, minerals, electrolytes, true hydration, and taking care of your body at a high level, and why that's important versus just like a weight loss, weight gain, calories in, calories out perspective, more so like a holistic, well-rounded approach of nutrition. And we're really big on education in the sense of like, we want to coach and teach our clients why they need to do those things and why they're important so that they want to do them for themselves. And then I feel like to kind of conclude that is, people learn through experience. Like you could tell me all these things about business. We could tell our clients all these things about fitness, but until we actually put it into practice and see it work out for ourselves, we won't have that 100% certainty until we've actually experienced it.
Sure. With the women you work with, do you prescribe cardio or do you do step counts?
For us, I try to aim for step counts first and foremost because I feel it's like lower impact. It's also like an easier barrier, lower barrier to entry for them. As our clients want to get leaner, yeah, we definitely include cardio at the end. And I always frame it from like a health and performance perspective. Like improving your cardio is going to make you live longer, perform better in your workouts, have more stamina, more energy. And I think if we can frame it as like a performance-based cardio, like, hey, I want you to burn 200 or 300 calories in the 30, 40 minutes that you're allotted. Like, I think they'll push themselves versus just like clock watching of like, hey, do 20 minutes of cardio. So we try to frame it through performance and health. And I think that gets them to do it a little bit more easy.
Yeah, I think I like that concept of doing it from a calorie standpoint because we know that actually it's trackable and measurable. Versus 20 minutes of cardio and 3 different types of piece of equipment at 3 different paces, depending on how you feel that day or your emotions. It's like some days we're burning fat, some days you burn 100 calories. So it's like making it to where it's like 250 is 250, period. That's 5 minutes. That could be 20 minutes, but it's 250 calories.
Yeah, absolutely. And like why I like one of my coaches, I'm sure Justin Mahaley, he kind of put me onto that a while ago. And I never really thought about that because like my inclination is like, I'm going to do that 20 minutes as hard as I possibly can. But sometimes it's not like that, right? Like I had a call with one of our clients and I was like, how much cardio are you doing? Cause she was like struggling to lose a little bit. And she goes, okay, like it's 4 times 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, cool. And like, do you track how many calories you burn in that 20 minutes? And she goes 67. And I was like, dude, you're like barely moving. Like that's 67. Hard to do.
It's like a one. It's like a 1 on the treadmill.
Yeah. So I was like, we got to step that up. So I challenged her. I said, I think in 20 minutes you can burn 200, and she burned like 230. So I think just like that really clicked for her of like having that calorie target.
Yeah.
And then I related that to food, and I was just like, look, like you're having 30 grams of peanut butter a day. That was like 180 calories or something like that. I'm like, you're doing cardio 3 times a week just to burn off your one little bit of peanut butter. And if you overeat your peanut butter, like your cardio is wiped out. She's like, wow, like I never looked at it like this. So I think like explaining that via cardio, like how hard you have to work, like really clicks for people.
Yeah. Math at the end of the day. So for somebody that's just starting out, let's say a woman's 35, she wants to lose 35 pounds and she knows she needs to start doing some cardio. What would be a performance metric that you'd want her to hit?
I would say aim for 200 calories burned on whatever equipment. I prefer either Stairmaster, elliptical with like moderate resistance, or a spin bike, anything that you can track it on the machine. Aim for 200 calories and then see what your time is. So for example, if you do that in 17 minutes and 30 seconds, beat that next time, do it faster. That's how I would say to track it and to aim for performance, similar to like progressive overload.
Yeah. No, that's a really good take. I forgot I used to do cardio like that, to where like if I did 20 minutes at this number, three, I need to do it at 3.1 and then 3.2. And then that way I know I'm getting better and better. Because the thing about it is like the machine says 250 calories, right? However, as you become more efficient and more conditioned, the machine still says it, but it's easier. So you're not burning as many calories because your heart rate's not getting as high.
That's true.
It's good to continue to match that. So I like that. That's what I like with the step piece. It's like just very consistent from a metric standpoint, and has nothing to do with the energy in the process. So my entire prep, being getting ready for the show, is all through steps. I haven't done any cardio per se. It's just, I'll do the treadmill to get the miles in to hit the steps.
What do you hit? I'm just curious, like what's the
10,000 is the goal.
Really? That's it. That's not bad.
That's it. So here's the thing. It's like for me, like I'm really busy.
Yeah.
And so I would rather eat less than do more at the gym.
That's my perspective also.
Right?
Yeah.
And which also means that I need to be really good in the off season about being insulin resistant or not being insulin resistant, and continue to eat that. And that way I can get my calories high. That way we can pull from those calories when it's time. Otherwise, I am going to be doing a lot of cardio.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when somebody usually comes to you, and let's say that they have because your avatar already goes to the gym preferably, and they've got a foundation, right?
Yeah.
What is one of the number one mistakes you see when somebody comes to you? Is it not eating enough carbs? Is it tuna and salad and then binging? What becomes one of the major issue of 35-year-old woman that's looking to get better?
I think the training style. So typically they're doing classes, whether it be F45, right, Orange Theory, Pilates. Like the training style is just not conducive to their goal. I always tell people that, a basketball player is going to do basketball drills. A soccer player is going to do soccer drills. There is a specific style of training that is for building muscle, that is for improving your body composition, and that is only resistance training. Everything else is inferior when it comes to the goal that you actually have of transforming your body. So that's probably the biggest one, I would say. And people correlate, like I've been sweaty and I've worked hard and I, show up every week, so therefore I must be progressing. But as we know, like people will go to group fitness classes and they won't really see a whole lot of change in their physiques, unfortunately. And then I think also a lot of that has to do with there's a mindset around group fitness classes that, well, I burned 300 calories today, therefore I get to eat an extra 300 calories. And they're not really taking into the equation everything else that matters. So I would say the group fitness, the style of training is probably the biggest one that we're constantly like people coming in the door. And the next thing is just getting somebody to truly understand why they need to track their calories, why they need to track their macros, why that has such a profound impact on body composition. And if you can get that to really click for somebody versus just like eating healthy or, hey, I'm hitting my protein, or hey, I'm hitting clean. We all know that that's nowhere near precise enough. We have people probably, I'm sure you do all the time, you're a jacked guy who comes up to you at the party and it's like, hey, Mike, like I can't lose weight. I eat clean. I eat healthy. And you just kind of roll your eyes a little bit because you're like, dude,
like, being on a diet and eating healthy are not the same.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say those are two of the biggest things that if we can get women into our program who are resistance training 4 or 5 times a week, who are tracking their food consistently, they're going to see crazy results.
Makes sense. I like it. I like your niche, man.
Thank you. Me too.
To work with because there's nothing wrong with beginners, but sometimes it's fun to work with somebody kind of already doing it because we can make bigger progress.
Absolutely. So and we do get some beginners too. Like we absolutely do.
100%.
And personally, like I just prefer working with women. I we have a small handful of guy clients. It's usually like the husbands of the wives that we work with.
Sure. And
I don't know if you see this in clientele, but I find like guys can be so hard-headed, not as coachable. They don't want to receive the advice. They want to do things their own way. My Uncle Bob told me in his garage that you're totally wrong about everything you believe. I'm like, okay. Whereas women are like much more inclined to like want the advice, take the advice, implement it. And I connect with them so much better personally. Like, I just don't want to be arguing, coaching with somebody all day, every day. I just want somebody to like take the advice and just like implement it and be appreciative.
I think that's interesting because I've always said this too, is that the worst guy that you can train is somebody that used to be O lineman
Mm-hmm.
because they're very intelligent, but also too smart to drop their ego
Mm.
to learn that, like, hey, like you've never had abs. Stop telling me how to get abs, why you can't get them. But you're really good at what you do. It's just, but your goal, what you want is not, you're not going to pyramid your way to a six pack through bench press.
Yeah, no.
Right. The other thing I found interesting is that you said that sometimes the husbands don't want to adhere. Do you think that has anything to do with it's
No,
their
sorry, I don't want
wife?
to get that. Sorry, I don't want to misconstrue that. So the husbands that we have are actually very good. I used to coach anybody and anybody who would give me their credit card.
Got
So
it. Sure, sure, sure.
I'm so
Like,
now that I've
okay, so
niched
men
down.
essentially, you're saying not your
Yeah,
clients, but just
no, my
general
clients are
workers.
very good, and I think they do so well because they are in it as partners. Like if people can afford to have both their husband and wife in it, I think that's fantastic because you know they have the same line of messaging. Like Shaun told me this, or Morgan told me this, or Danny told me that. Our coaches,
Right.
so
The
they
programs
have
align, the foods align, they can shop together, they
exactly,
can still eat together, date
exactly.
nights
So
are the
they do
same, they can
great.
plan.
They have the same beliefs because they're getting the same kind of like rhetoric and messaging of like what we believe and the right way to do things. So I think that's why our husbands actually do really well. But before we niche down to women, we would have just kind of anybody and everybody. And like I specifically stopped liking to work with guys, and it was more so who I didn't want to work with that pushed me into who I did want to work with.
Sure.
Just because it was constant headaches.
Totally. You know what? I
Mhm.
work with a lot of coaches, and they say a lot of them prefer to work with women over men
Mhm.
because women
Yeah,
usually will work harder.
they will.
I
They will for sure.
think the biggest play to that is just like ego attachment
I think so too.
for sure.
And there's like a power
Um,
dynamic, and it's like unless I'm like willing to like consistently put you in your place all the time, there's like that battle, and I'm not up for that every day. Like it's just
totally. With
unnecessary.
that, it brings me to a really great question here. To the woman that thinks that she wants to work with a female coach,
Hmm.
why should they be open to potentially working with a male coach?
Man, that's a good question. I'd have to think about that more in depth. But like what springs to mind automatically is like who is going to be consistently producing the best results. So for me, I like to look at somebody's transformations, their testimonials, their results, their reviews, that kind of thing. And I think that what we produce is very, very much up there in terms of consistency. Like the amount of people who come into our program who don't succeed is extremely small. And I think that we've put enough pieces into play now where like it's usually some catastrophic event in somebody's life that prevents them from participating, or they've just been like completely non-participating in the program and like there's literally nothing we could have done. Not to escape any responsibility. Obviously, there's always something that maybe we could have done a little bit better,
Sure.
but for the most part, by and large, that's not really the case anymore, which is great because we've just kind of like systematized everything and just we have so many fail safes that like if no one's slipping through the cracks, you pretty much have to ignore us for 6 months straight to not get results. But to answer your question, like we have a female coach. Her name's Morgan. She's great. We have a guy coach named Danny. That's great. I'm another coach as well, but I'm taking less and less clients one on one myself these days. But yeah, to answer your question, I think like when you are looking for a coach, look for somebody who aligns with your values. Look for somebody who aligns with the type of result that you are trying to produce. And then somebody who you feel like you genuinely respect and want to be held accountable by.
Mm.
And I think that sometimes women have an easier time doing that with a guy than a woman because sometimes the girls can get a little bit like, same thing with guy on guy where there's just like that combativeness. I think it can also be the same sometimes with women depending on the situation.
Yeah. Well, dude, I like that. I had one other question that sprung up after that. Oh, shoot, what was it? For the woman that's at the gym, they're already doing their thing, right? That's people we love to work with. But for the woman that's already going to the gym, at what point in their mind do you think that they should then get the coach?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a issue that we're trying to solve in terms of like our marketing and our messaging and our communication with these clients. Because some people are like, well, why do I need to invest with a coach if I'm already like 75% of the way there? And it's just like, well, do you want to be 75% of the way there for the next 3 to 5 years? Because most people who are 75% of the way there, they've been stuck there. They're not consistently progressing. They've kind of reached a point. So it's like, do you want to keep working out 3 to 4 or 5 times a week, eating pretty healthy to just be like a little bit better than average? Or do you actually want to look really freaking good? Right. So it's like, for me, I always try to say, hey, like, yes, you've been able to do great on your own and that's admirable, but why would you not want to coach? there's no real reason to not want to coach. Maybe you can't afford it, that's fine. But there's no good reason that somebody shouldn't have a coach. I have a coach. I'm sure you probably have a coach in some other area of your life in terms of bodybuilding and business mentorship and whatever, right? The most successful people in the world have coaches, have mentors in multiple areas of fields. I'm probably on like my 6th or 7th business mentorship. I'm always kind of going up. Fitness coaches as well. I'm always trying to learn. So yeah, I think, for somebody who's trying to get from pretty good to great, having that professional assistance so that they can take all of the guesswork out of it, have a detailed roadmap, detailed game plan, step-by-step for you. So it's very simple and easy to follow so that you have a higher probability of success and a higher probability of being able to actually keep those results. I think having a coach is a no-brainer.
So I think this is really important. I think this kind of sums it up. Mm-hmm. To the mom that's been going to F45, Soul Cycle, and Pilates in the last 90 days and hasn't seen any results, why should they talk to you about your coaching?
Because we're going to produce a much higher level result and get them the result that they've been working for at least the last 90 days and probably have not made any tangible progress on, because we're going to be able to help them with their resistance training, the training quality that they're implementing, their food, their sleep, improve their gut health. Going to classes, going to trainers, Pilates, that's one piece of the puzzle. That's exercise. There's all the other pieces that you need to dial in: your gut health, your sleep, your nutrition, your steps, your consistency, being accountable on the weekends, not just weekdays. I think that's where having a coach is really instrumental, and just going to classes is why people stay stuck.
I love it, man. I love it. Let's make a quick shift here. I want to talk a little bit about AR and your experience here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
How long have you been with this now?
Close to, if not a year, I would say.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And so what was one thing that you were doing, if you can even remember back, but what's one thing you were doing before signing up with AR that you hated that we essentially were able to fix?
It's kind of funny. Like, I was sending every single email manually, every single email, like onboarding emails, consultation emails, reminder emails. Everything we did was manual, every single thing. It's just kind of funny, like sending the intake forms, receiving the contract. Like, we were literally like having people like print it out and like sign it and fax it back to us. Just like super inefficient. Like, we didn't have any metrics. We didn't have any dashboards. Like, we didn't have any workflows or anything like that.
It's basically just no true automated system to help you essentially scale.
I would say we didn't have a business, like in the sense of like an actual serious person has a Go High Level or an AR or a CRM of some kind. Like, a serious business has that. And I'll tell you a quick funny story. Is like, I was on a group coaching call that I was on, and this is like probably just before I joined AR. And in the group that we were on, like, I would say like our business was kind of doing like middle of the road money compared to everybody else on the call. And then somebody said something about a CRM, and I was like, do you think like I should get a CRM? And I remember this guy's face like it was yesterday. Like, he made the face like I was the stupidest person on earth to have asked that question. He was just like, his eyes went wide and he went into the screen. He's like, what do you mean? Do you think you should have a CRM? Like, how do you not have a CRM and you're making the money you're making? That makes no sense. And I was just like, okay. I think I signed up like literally like a week after that.
Yeah, I think a lot of coaches, they do the post and pray and application and like hope that works. Right. It's like,
I was running my business exclusively off of Instagram, like just like spray and pray, no ads. Basically just like posting every single day, stories every day, outbounds on every single person who liked my messages. Like, it was.
And you didn't have a team then, right?
No, it's just me.
And so since joining, right, you've been able to build this system that keeps everything organized, and now you also have additional team members to help you continue to scale the business that all can also operate out of the same place. Do you feel like without a CRM or like AR, for example, you would be where you're at now? From an organization standpoint or scaling standpoint?
Absolutely not. Because just a few things, like keeping tabs of, say, for example, somebody who is renewing. I was doing that all in my head. Like, I'd be like, oh, like Sarah's like on month 4. Like, I was doing that with 100 people. And I am in our check-in. Like, it's insane to think that like, if this is how I actually operated, honestly. But like, for example, I like the text that like, oh, so-and-so is coming up in 60 days or 30 days or whatever. All of the workflows of email automations, like all that stuff.
Let me explain what you just said there. So for every coach that comes on, if you sell somebody a 6 or 12 month program, or 4, 8, whatever it is you actually sell,
6 and 12,
we'll send out a reminder to the coach, the business owner, so-and-so has 30 days left in the program. This is what they paid. As a reminder, so you don't train somebody for free. I know that seems like small or really insignificant, but how much more peace of mind do we have knowing that no one's going to slip through the cracks and I don't have to constantly think, have they paid? Have they paid? Have they paid? we just want to keep you organized because for us, we're looking to do two things for a coach. I'm looking to either A, put a strategy in to help you scale, or B, keep you organized and keep your stress down so you can enjoy what it is you do, which is why you wanted to work for yourself in the first place. Typically what happens is as you get organized, you typically start to scale. And that's what we typically see with a coach of your size. Once things become organized, everything starts to rise around it because the stress of the organization is actually what's preventing us from getting to the next level. And so I know you've had a lot of different mentorships. So like we're not the company that says because of AR, we're able to do X amount of dollars. But how many clients are you able to currently either A, work with, or from a revenue perspective, how much money are you processing to essentially operate your business now through AR?
Yeah, so I would say prior to AR, we would bring on like 2 to 4 people a month. And now we're consistently bringing on over 10 people a month. And nice. That has allowed us to, and what's great about that is like, we're like slowly going up every month because not everybody, you know, pays in full. Sometimes we get payment plans or whatever, break it down, in-house financing. So, but with that, like our charts are just going steady up and to the right consistently. We've hit back-to-back record months. We're, to go into revenue numbers, like we were probably stuck around 20 to 25K in revenue before coming into AR, but there would be months where like we would do 12. You know what I mean? Like we were just like, for whatever reason, just we wouldn't sign up clients that month or just less clients. Over the last, like we've just, I would say our median is probably like between like 35, 40. And last month we did like 40. No, last month we did 50. The month before that we did like 43. So like we're steadily heading up in the right direction, and it feels good because for the longest time, Mike, like I felt like I was working basically every waking hour of the day to like just like hold on and just not have the business fail. So it's been really good to like get more organized. And like one of my goals that I set out, and like you said, like I'm in other business mentorships as well. And I've been kind of like learning from everybody, as I'm sure you do as well. And like one of my biggest goals was I just want to be a more serious business owner. And what that meant to me is like, I want to track my numbers. I want to have team meetings. I want to have a CRM. I want to like do those things. So for me, that's just been one of the most instrumental parts is like having such high level organization with AR is just so game changing.
Dude, that's awesome to hear, man. One last question for you. For the coach that's doing that $15,000, $20,000 a month and they're debating, am I ready for a CRM system? Do I need one? Just like you asked at that point, what would you tell them?
I think it's an absolute no-brainer that you absolutely need one because your business is not really a business if you don't have predictable lead flow that you can actually manage. Because if you're trying to manage your leads out of like your Instagram DMs or your Facebook Messenger, like good luck. How are you going to contact somebody from like 3 months ago, right? Whereas when you have it in AR, it's all in one place. And I could go on and on. Like you have, you know, all the intake forms are in one place. All the email are in one place. I have a dashboard that shows me like all the leads that are coming in and like how much revenue I've collected from that, which for me kind of gamifies it. So when I have a certain threshold number for me that like, I always want that number to be at a certain number in the last 30 days. Cause that lets me know like I'm definitely gaining way more clients than I'm losing. So as long as I keep going, I'm going to continuously make more money. I can't not by that definition. So that's kind of like how I would say it. Like, I think that, you know, a lot of people will not sign up because they're worried about a cost or whatever. But like online coaches have this funny thing where they think that they should have to pay no money and run a business. And that's not realistic. You can't like, because when you start, you're posting organic content. What is your business cost? Like $300, $400 a month on Trainerize. You have a Zoom membership and that's it. Like you're running a business on like $500, right? A month. So businesses do have hard costs. We're very fortunate in online business that our hard costs are quite low, relatively speaking. Like we can run like 80% margin businesses pretty comfortably. So I think people need to not be cheap and invest in their business because you have to ultimately spend money to make money. And yeah, I think you absolutely have to do it. Also, as like a little shout out to you guys, out of any customer service, any business that I've ever worked with in my life ever, your customer service is like by far the best. Like by far, like every person I talk to on calls is phenomenal. Everybody who wants to help me is always asking, triple asking, are you sure? Super polite, which I think in this day and age is very undervalued. There's pleases, there's thank yous, there's you're welcomes. Like I feel appreciated and I feel like I want to continue doing business. And even when there was months where like my business was sucking and I'm trying to cut costs, like your thing is like the last thing I'm cutting. Just because of customer service. Like it really does matter that much to me. And I try to operate my business in the same way. So yeah, I just want to say from me to you, like I do value that a lot. And I appreciate
Dude, I
it.
appreciate that. I will definitely pass that along to the team and your account manager and everybody, because it does go a long way for us. We are service first over everything else. That is part of what we do. So that means a lot, and I appreciate you saying that, man.
Yeah,
Dude,
thank you.
I appreciate you coming on today. Enjoyed it. And dude, I look forward to continue to see you grow, and all these clients you're working with just continue to blossom and see results, man. So I appreciate it.
Me too. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you.